Hey everyone, Astronaut98 here. Today we will be launching the Sojourner 1, my new and improved version compared to my previous version that I showed you a couple years ago. This one is going to be converted into the Sojourner T, which I showed you just a few seconds ago. It'll have the extra fuel tanks and everything else, hopefully ready to go from Duna to Lave. I'm going to try and replicate that mission shown in the show as best I can. Alright, here we have a nice opening shot of Jamestown going down to the Sojourner 1 launch pad. I kind of hand-built that, so it was a bit tricky. But yeah, I did try to replicate a few of the more, I think, influential shots from the TV show, just because I thought they were cool. This vehicle is a bit of a pain to get off the lunar surface. You have to launch with the vertical engines, and then you have to fire both the Nerva and liquid fuel oxidizer engines just to get enough delta V to get into orbit around the moon. But once you get into a nice stable, or close to a stable orbit, you can then start using your quote-unquote solar sails. Basically, I just made some giant solar panels that extend out and help me use the ion engines, which help me save a lot of delta V, surprisingly. But I keep the solar panels extended during the coast phase. Not much happens during the coast phase. So I was wondering, would you all want to see me build a replica of the Ranger 2 that catches an asteroid, since there seems to be a giant asteroid visible on the map screen here? Or would you want to see me do the full launch of the Happy Valley base, the one from Season 3, not the current version? I'm not sure my computer would even be able to handle the current version, that thing's huge. Maybe a replica of Deep Space Nine. I'd figure I'd give a large space station a try. But here we go. Here we are doing a gentle aero pass to slow ourselves into Duna's orbit. This thing does get a mite toasty, and you kind of come in tail first for some of the phases. But this vehicle is great to fly when it works, and terrifying when it doesn't. So during the descent, or before the descent more accurately, you want to transfer fuel from the furthest back fuel tank to the furthest nose tank, which is in the gear bay. And at an altitude of roughly 1,000 meters, you're going to want to start firing the landing engines and deploying the gear. And basically accelerate at roughly half your throttle. For some reason, it's more stable at half throttle than full throttle. I'm still trying to figure that out myself. But and if you do all that correctly, you can almost land on a pinpoint location. This thing does kind of slam down a little bit. But here we have the VAB, and we're loading up the cargo container full of the parts to make it a Sojourner T. Now, I was kind of replicating the palletized shipping container idea that it looks like they had in a few episodes of the show. Turns out those landing engines aren't all that necessary. They're kind of more just dead weight than anything else. But here we go. Launch of the Sea Dragon to carry it out to Duna. I don't know how they got the parts there. Maybe they manufactured them on the surface. But Kerbal Space Program doesn't allow that. I was really hoping Kerbal Space Program 2 would actually get further than it actually did, so I could actually start manufacturing parts. But here we go. Here's our descent burn, so that way we can drop the cargo crate onto the Dunan surface. This thing kind of drops a little unstable. This isn't my current cargo crate version. The current version now has grip pads and landing gear on the bottom, so that way you could grab it with a rover and maneuver it if you have a rover with like a claw or a docking port. This one works pretty well. This is a couple different takes. I did have to revert to a previous save state because the previous one, for some reason I set the parachute pressure too low and it just crashed into the ground entirely. So this one landed a little softer, but it did crash the landing gear. Alright, now we dispose of the those, and then I decided to just drive Sojourner over to the supplies rather than bring the supplies to Sojourner. Kind of a bring the mountain to Mohammed type deal. But yeah, as you can see, I kind of overshot and kind of had to back up a state-of-the-art spacecraft right next to a shipping container. After refilling the Sojourner, we then opened up the shipping container and began unloading it. I decided to include a nice little fun time-lapse of that going on. I do apologize that I wasn't able to fully get it set up as the Sojourner T. I would have loved to have gotten that done, but life kind of got in the way. And here's what it should look like when it's done. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, leave your comments down below. And remember, stay safe, stay sane, and most importantly, have fun.